Hi Shrikant, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to host you on Colliers TV. Really appreciate you taking time off for the same. And what a story it's been. 6 decades and still counting, third generation, and I think now the fourth has joined you in business. Tell us, how's it been? How's it been? How did it start, and how's it evolved to where you currently are placed?
Well, yes, it's a 6 decade story, but it's a different. The business has over a period changed. It was more of a plotted layout to start with. Then the cooperative movement started. So my second generation were more of promoters of cooperative societies and developed, with them rather than the builder. I think my generation is the new breed of developers, which is probably post ULC era.
Right.
And so definitely business changed. Why? Even my career of 30 years, business has changed a lot. My customer has changed, his aspirations has changed, his awareness about the project has changed.
Right.
My customer, when I started, my average customer was 45 years old. Today my average customer is about 27 years old.
Right.
So business has changed.
Yeah. So, interesting point. We have seen so much of volatility and lots has changed in our industry, especially in the recent past. Most of it pertains to your time. So, what are the challenges you have faced and how you overcome them?
Well, the major challenge any real estate developer of good repute faces is the general distrust or lack of trust the entire fraternity has somehow. So, countering that, standing tall, standing above that, coming out of it, it's exhausting. Customer as a feels that you're there to cheat you, and so to convince him, overcome him, and actually get his confidence, it's really exhausting. Fortunately, we have been doing that, and I'm quite proud to say that we are one of the trustworthy developers wherever we are doing. So there's a cost attached to it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, interesting you brought that up because, and we read it in your mission statement has trust mentioned. Your vision is to be the most trustworthy real estate company. And at a time when there's so much of negativity or perceived negativity in the market, it must be a challenge. So, what are the acts you are doing? What are the things you're putting in to make sure that you overcome that?
Well, right from the beginning, I think transparency. Definitely, when I started my career, there was no transparency whatsoever, and there was no awareness to my customer. I think we definitely brought in transparency, and we continue to. Now with RERA, I think that transparency will become legal. So, if you have told the customer what's going to happen, I think customer is happy. See, my business is such that I work on a site or on a flat or a housing unit for about 2 years, but my customer works for 20 years. So, if you remember that every time, I think business becomes easier.
Right. So, now that you spoke about RERA, there's a lot of talk about that, and a lot of the consumers seem to be happy about it, though there's likely to be some cost overrun which is going to be passed on to them.
The basic objective of RERA is to protect the consumer. They are not protecting us, unfortunately.
Right. But so there has been a hue and cry about some of the clauses which have been too strict. or really one-sided in favor of the customer. So what are your views, and how do you see it impacting our business in the next couple of years?
Well, for me, it's not much different. Uh, Transparent we were always putting up our legal papers, and so I don't see there is any difference for me or a few top brands which are in the market today. The only difference, and which will hurt, is the cash flow. The act says that about 70% will be escrowed.
Right.
And of course, rules are yet to come, so we are not very sure as to how that cash flow is going to be managed. But then there are a lot of stakeholders, my landowners, my partners, my fund managers, my bankers. Everybody will have to then gear up, shape up, change their financial structure accordingly. So, let us see, next year is a challenging year. So, next year RERA will come in force, and everybody of us will have to work with it and through it, hopefully. It is a challenge.
And one really doesn't know how it's going to pan out. So, I think next couple of years is going to be more of a…
But if ultimately it brings in trust in the entire industry from the customer's point of view, I think it's a good step anyway.
Sure.
And good brands will survive. Those who are fly by night probably will vanish. So, 2 years of difficulty, and then I think things will. I am looking very positively.
Sure. Sure. No,
In fact, we are already prepared, and we have already started internally to follow the RERA rules anyway.
Good. So, where does the drive come from? What motivates you? I mean, I know you're in multiple cities in India. I didn't know you've gone out of India as well.
Well, doing senior citizen out of India was always on my chart. In fact, we had some 8-10 years ago, we had done a prototype in Australia. I had invested in Australia, done 2 small projects there to just gain experience. Because US is costly. Investment in US is 10 times more than what you need to invest in Australia.
Right.
So, we have done that, we have gained experience. Then I realized that in 2006-07, there was no point in going outside. Pune was bustling with opportunities. So, I kind of shelved my foray into real estate for about last 7-8 years. Now is the time again to move. So that is how we are doing it.
Interesting. On a different side of your business, you are one of the brands who have been associated with various pools of capital. You've had HDFC at the entity level, you've had various banks supporting you in your growth. What would you advise a growing developer in the current scenario to keep as his capital structure? What would the right balance be between equity and debt?
Well, it's not that simple to say that 1:2, 1:3 and debt equity should be fine. In fact, with advent of RERA, a little more on capital than debt probably. Over a period, you cannot increase your capital overnight, but is required. This business has financially, structure wise, you can have your own land and develop, you can have recently purchased land and develop, you can have JV partner coming in and develop. In JVs also you can do a revenue share, you can do share construction, so many ways. So, and each type probably will require different capital. So, you cannot generalize, but with RERA coming in, I think gradually at least you will have to tilt more on own capital than debt, because even servicing debt at the initial stage of a project otherwise is going to be difficult. So, probably first 25 to 30% of construction, you may have to do with your own money or a structured debt where your servicing is postponed. I hope banks will come up with those kind of solutions.
So in most developed markets, actually debt comes in only post approvals. I think land funding is mainly by way of equity, and that's something which secures the project.
I think that's a cardinal rule out here also, that you cannot buy land with debt.
Yeah, banks do
We
not really
definitely
fund it,
bought land, but then it was a pure equity. Wherever I did my project, my both townships, we had funding, but it was not structured. It was a pure simple equity.
which is the way it should go. Just to wind this up, what would your final words be to the next generation to carry on your brand, which is really filled with trust and a really solid brand today?
Well, this business was being run by me and my brother, and we had two children each, and all four have joined. And we have no complaints. New generation is wiser than us, definitely. They connect to the customer because customer also has become younger. So, marketing wise, they are able to connect the customer much better than what we are able to do. And they are raring. So, probably my work would be to contain them rather than push them onto business. Next 2 years, of course, we will be watching the advent of RERA. We will be watching, the business will definitely change. So, we will be watching how it changes, and then we will take a call.
Also the sluggishness, I think.
Sluggishness, everybody is hoping monsoon would be good.
Oh yeah.
This time even stock market is expecting, and they say stock market will also depend on, it's not just the farmer,
absolutely. I
financial.
think all industries today are praying for rain. So
absolutely.
Yeah, we can only hope and pray for it. On that note, we shall sign off. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate you being on our show. Look forward to being in touch.
Thanks, Suresh. And Colliers has been our friend for years together. Much appreciate.
Thank you so much. Good to hear that.
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All the best. Thank you.